The paintbrush trembled in her hand, but not from fatigue. That it was the way. His shadow stopped beside her that made. The air shift and stay still. The Navy, Seal's eyes had locked on her wrist, his chest rising once, then holding as if time had lost its courage to move. Forward, she kept painting slow, deliberate strokes across the metal. Door white over rust. The smell of fresh paint clung to her skin. Her coveralls were splattered with days' worth of work, yet her posture carried a kind of quiet dignity no uniform could erase. The barracks hallway was empty, except for them, but his stare felt like a question she wasn't ready to answer, and he didn't ask. Not yet. She had been here for weeks, the quiet civilian, painter assigned to a forgotten corner of the base. Most walked past her, without a glance, the way people walk, past maintenance crews, not knowing the years those hands might have held a rifle instead of a brush. Only a few noticed her limp. Even fewer noticed the tattooed as it was faded, the ink, softened by years of sun and salt water. A simple emblem, wings, and a trident. It had no name beneath it. But those who knew, years earlier, she had worn the same emblem in a place where the ocean was not a horizon, but a threat. She had been young then, strong, fast, sharp-eyed, a rescue diver in a world where minutes decided who lived and who didn't. Her unit had been her family. Point one. Mission one night had changed everything. She could still feel the cold weight of that night in her bones. The smell of burning fuel on black water, the grip of a brother in arms, pulling her to the raft, his breath, ragged with pain. She had held his head above the waves until the chopper came, but by morning he was gone, and so was the life she had known. The Navy had given her medals, but they couldn't give her back her voice when it came to the lost S. She built a life in silence, work with her hands, stay out of the way, leave the past where it was buried, until this SEAL stopped beside her. He didn't move, didn't speak, just looked, not at her face, but at the ink that tied them to the same bloodline of service. Bystanders walked past, some glancing at the odd pause, others pretending not to notice. The silence between them grew heavier, pulling at something deep in both of them. Then, without warning, he stepped back, snapped to attention, got a salute, sharp, perfect, and held. The hallway stilled. The corporal carrying a clipboard froze mid-step point. Too young. Recruits stopped whispering. Even the hum of the fluorescent lights seemed to fade. She stared at him, unsure. Salutes were not for civilians. But this wasn't about rules. I know who you are, he said finally, his voice steady. You saved my brother. Her breath caught. She had never asked for thanks. Never expected anyone to remember. But now the memory of that night felt different. No longer just loss, but connection. The SEAL lowered his hand, then turned toward the recruits. Show respect, he said simply. She's one of us. And they did. Every head bowed slightly as she passed. The clipboard was lowered, the whisper silenced, that it wasn't loud, that it wasn't dramatic. It was the kind of moment that sinks deep into a person and stays there. She picked up her brush. Again, the paint went on smooth, the stroke steady, but inside something lighter moved, a reminder that silent honor is still seen, even in the quietest corners. Some carry their battles and their scars. Some carry them in their ink, and some carry them in the way they keep painting long after the war has ended.